I am Melodie McDaniel. I was responsible for doing John Doe's photography for the movie Seven. Besides taking the pictures, I was responsible for making the pictures kind of slightly off or imperfected. And I was even asked in other departments, in the art department, they were I shouldn't say kind of, they were impressed with the way I was bleaching out my Polaroids, scratching on the negatives, stepping on them and doing whatever just to make it look, just to give it some texture. For the gluttony photographs, I brought this old land camera in because I was imagining that John Doe was somewhat of an amateur photographer, so I visualized him just sort of going into a thrift store, a secondhand store, and buying a cheap camera that is like an old-fashioned camera and just kind of making it work. I brought in my land camera that has like a lot of light leaks in it, holes in it, so it's not perfect. So with the gluttony pictures, I went in and made things a little bit more abstract. That's what I wanted. I knew that I wanted them to look different than the crime scene type of photography, which is very Ouija-esque, flash, hard flash, very contrasty, where my pictures, I wanted them to feel a little blurry. I wanted them to see a little scratchy and have like imperfections on them, and being through that kind of camera, which was an old land camera, would help me give that effect, like even the lens being a little slightly soft. So nothing was really sharp. Some things were one part of the frame would be in focus and the other part would, half wouldn't. And I thought that might be an interesting way for John Doe to take his photographs. I use a lot of natural light. I'm untechnical. I don't use a lot of technical techniques to make my work, my images happen. I tend to just do a lot of guessing, and things just happen, and I get a lot of interesting mistakes that'll come up that I may not be able to recreate, but sometimes it works for the advantage and sometimes not. This particular film I was using is called 665 Polaroid film, and it's black and white, and it comes with a negative, which is the only, I think, Polaroid film that comes with a negative. So it lets you alter. The Polaroid film comes with a coater. If you don't coat the picture, it'll fade. It'll start to fade. So instead of coating them immediately, I just let them sit, and I let them kind of, even if I had my photo assistants take them outside of the studio and bake them in the sun, so they start bleaching out. And then I even sometimes would take that after bleaching them, I'd pick up the photograph, stick it back onto the negative, and so to create this weird texture. I just was very messy with them. So it was very interesting. And David, I went and presented this to David just to make sure I was like not, I was on the right track. If this was something interesting to him, and he loved it. He goes, even push it more, make them more distorted, make it so like even if you barely even have an image on one of the Polaroids. So I gave him a variety of that, and I noticed that with the Gluttony, I focused on my Polaroid camera, and also I did use a 4x5 land camera, because I used, again, they had a Type 55 film for the 4x5 camera, which I can do the same thing with the Polaroid. Just visually, for some reason, I just thought it was just a feeling I got, and I wanted, being that I also, as a photographer, I use like 3 or 4 different cameras depending on the type of story I'm about to reveal. I think each camera can tell a story. Sometimes one, just it's a feeling I got. And for Gluttony, I just thought Polaroid land camera was perfect, and also a 4x5 land camera. Now for Greed, 35 millimeter. That was it. And what I did was, in the printing, in order to make the 35 feel a little bit, to show a lot of imperfections on that, I definitely had to tweak it in the printing. And instead of spotting the prints, there was a lot of dust in the darkroom, and I just kind of let it go. I just let it happen, just so it didn't look so perfect and clean. Because John Doe didn't strike me as even though he seemed like an intelligent guy, that was, I didn't feel that he would want to go back and spot his prints to make sure it was perfect. Again, not being experienced, I kind of walked in feeling a little, I shouldn't say a lot unsure of what I was going to do, but I just went with what I thought would be the best. And I started to set up as I had to pretend like I had to kind of get into John Doe's head, as if like, what are the steps he would take to get through to this, the lawyer I think I was supposed to kill through with the camera. With the Greed photographs, I was working with the actor, David. In this case, again, it was very vague. He kind of didn't give me too much information. He wanted me to go in there and just sort of make things happen however I saw it. I just think it's just interesting when you have your photographs are telling a story, but they happen to be on a piece of paper as you're turning the page, or, I actually saw a book that was called A Paper Story, and I thought, or A Paper Movie. And I thought that was just so beautifully put for somebody who likes to tell stories with their photography, and it's almost so close to showing a film, showing your movie, showing your pictures in a cinematic way, but it's still, not really moving, or it's moving at the pace you want it to move when you're turning the page. I don't know if that makes any sense. I was first a fly on the wall spying on him, so I had a Nikon 35 millimeter camera with a wide lens, just so it felt like I was kind of distant. And then I started with a wide lens, so I was kind of far away. And then as I wanted to get closer to him, I switched lenses, like a 50 and then 85 to 105. And as those lenses changed, I was getting more and closer to killing him. Sorry, I was going to say the victim. And I remember just being so excited, because I actually particularly like to take pictures of dark things, and when I say dark, not just like literally the color, dark like that. I just like things that are just unusual or not common, or things that, like objects and also people that are just outcasts of society, I guess, in that sense. For some reason, I'm attracted to that.
Thank you.
I noticed that I like telling stories with photographs, and I think it's also a way of eventually wanting to move into filmmaking and moving pictures. Gluttony was extremely abstract. Greed was more of a narrative. And with lust, it was a combination of both, where I was trying to make a little narrative by interchanging lenses to get closer to her. And also, I wanted things to feel a little dreamy and abstract, so I shot things out of focus. The composition and the cropping was just way off, just so it looked spontaneous and just crazed for some reason. I just imagined John Doe just running around trying to keep up with her and without revealing himself. So I turned the lust into more like a narrative along with a visual abstract with the photography. I work with assistants, sometimes a couple, sometimes in the case with 7, I had 3 assistants, and they helped me with the process by manipulating the photographs, the Polaroids, and also the exposure, helping me scratch the negatives. They would take the film outside and step on it. They'd even open up the camera backs to let light in to give an effect of very amateur photography. And so within my process, it's really helpful to have a team of people to help my art. And my team was Cecil Cole, Eric Coleman, and Greg Scafidi.